Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, April 20th, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me this week is Bijan. How you making out?
What up, man? Finally, Team Ninja Warrior's here. I'm so psyched.
I'm excited too, and I'm really excited because we have a special guest joining us who we didn't even announce, just kind of a last-minute thing. We are joined by Party Time's one and only Jake Murray. How you making out, Jake?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Oh, so excited
Dude,
to have
so
you here.
happy you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you're so fun. This episode, you kicked butt, dude. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Sweet, thank you. No, I'm looking forward to this. It's exciting for me.
In honor of Jake's joining us, we're actually going to postpone our Ultimate Beastmaster coverage for a week. We will return with the episodes 7 and 8 next week. So this is going to be all about Team Ninja Warrior because we have a lot to say. We really do.
Yes, we do.
So we'll run through the revised course. We'll go through the runs and the results and everything now. So overall impressions, I'll kick it to you first, Jake. How did you find season 2?
Man, I liked it. I thought it was a bit cleaner. I really liked the editing, and it looked smooth. I mean, it was the same format as last season, I believe. Easier to watch than last season, aside from, the team's loss.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing to kind of jump to the end a little bit, but it was. You know what? Actually, it's Bijan's fault. He cursed you out by picking you guys to repeat last week. Bijan, you knew better than to do that.
You knew it was going to happen. I'm sorry, guys.
I didn't know you did that, but thank you. Thanks for believing in us.
Yeah, I have a running thing where I am the champ of the ANW Fantasy League and regular ANW, but with Team Ninja Warrior, I am the worst at picking teams. I curse all the teams.
We cursed every single College Madness team. Everybody we picked failed miserably.
Okay, yeah, team's a different beast, though. I mean, you see amazing ninjas, and they just don't they don't work as well as a team. It's really strange. Yeah, there are a lot of strange upsets in the.
It's a crazy different dynamic, right, man? Because it's not just like stringent on one singular person. You have to have a cohesive team that works entirely well together. Mm-hmm. And one single small mistake will mess up the entire dynamic of the team and the runs. And that's what I love about the show, is that you're always on pins and needles because anything can happen.
Yeah, every run's important, right? It seems like there's a lot of complaints last season with the formatting. I don't know if we'll get the same thing this year because the team captains do carry a lot of weight, but every run is important because those single points can mean that the captain only has to win once versus twice, for example. Every run's critical, and I was on the edge of my seat for every single run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. And that's what I've heard from a lot of friends who are fans of the show and keep up with it because they know me, but they all say the same thing. They think it's really electric energy and the show is more exciting than the normal season.
It is. I was thinking that exact thing. This episode is like, I think in some ways I actually enjoy Team Ninja Warrior more. It is freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
To introduce Jake, I'm sorry, we introduced you as, a member of Party Time, of course, the returning champions, but for those that aren't aware, Jake Murray is a two-time ANW veteran. He's made it to stage 2 in both ANW 7 and 8. He's famous for his antics on the course and his love of corn dogs. I mean, it just...
Yeah. I knew it was coming, but I'm never ready for it.
So do you feel like answering that one more time for us? If you've listened to the Wolfpack, you've kind of got a little bit of an idea, but for those that haven't heard Jake's take on there, I guess, what inspired the corn dog?
So the corn dog was actually James McGrath. I'll get to that, though. Originally, I got the fanny pack from, I went to a grand opening of a local gym here in Colorado. I don't know if people know a lot, but without getting too sidetracked, we don't have a lot of ninja gyms. And so I went to this grand opening, and these kids came up to me, and it was right around the time the finals Team Ninja Season 1 episode aired, so we were declared the winners. And I think after that, I kind of started to get recognized a little bit. Before that, it never happened. And these kids came up to me at this grand opening, and they were pretty stoked to see me, and I was probably more stoked just to be recognized. But they offered me this fanny pack as a gift for coming out to Colorado. I don't think they knew I was from here, but they offered me this fanny pack, and I was just really flattered. And so I made them a promise, and I was like, hey, guys, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I made it to finals, and it was after Indy qualifiers. And so
Right.
I said, I'm gonna run stage 1 with this. And then I came up with the idea to keep something in it because it seemed necessary. It'd be kind of weird to just have a fanny pack and not pull something out at the end. So I was gonna go with a hamburger, but I kind of thought like, it's not gonna travel well. It's gonna be in shambles by the time I get to the buzzer, if I get to the buzzer. And I ran the idea by James McGrath and Erica Cook in the Tenton finals, and James, I was like, unless you can think of something funnier than a corn dog, and James, like, without skipping a beat, was like, corn dog. So yeah, that's where it came from.
Gotcha, the story. Because I remember when it first happened, I'm like, what? And I was like, I'm so glad there's a story behind it,
Yeah,
That's really dope about the fanny pack, though. That's really cool. Not only that you're, showing a little love to the people that gave it to you, but it's really a micro level thing where it's from a regional new gym, and that's got a really cool story to it. So big ups to you, and shout out to them as well.
thanks, man. Yeah, I haven't seen him since. I'm hoping I run into him one day, get to talk to him about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably still talking about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you made their day on that one.
So let's take a look at the actual course for Team Ninja Warrior. We had a lot of returning obstacles. We had the Sonic Swing, the Ring of Fire.
Oh, that Ring of Fire, though.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. That thing is dope.
I'm already seeing complaints about it, though. Can you?
Yeah, I was going to say from an athlete, sorry to cut you off, Rich, but from an athlete's perspective, I think we feel the opposite for the most part.
It's probably a nightmare. I can imagine it's a nightmare, man. But for the show's dynamic, like, I always want a really tough obstacle on the show.
Okay.
And that obstacle just trips so many people up. And it gives so much in-depth things where the fact that it has 2 breaking points. So you can go really, really fast, hop over the first part. But if you get hung up on that second part, not only does it stop you up completely, but it can almost throw you off and you can fall into the water. So there's so many dynamics going into that one obstacle. I'm sure it's an absolute nightmare for the runners, but for the audience, it is awesome.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting take on it, because I guess I only look at it from the athlete's perspective, but it was a huge choke point, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
But it could just cause a huge separation. For example, Brian Crutch and I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into some of the runs here, but I see it as a choke point. Obviously, it made a big difference to a lot of the runs, but at the same time, is it more of a choke point than we see with saying the flying shelf grab, which comes a little bit later? Like, that's a time-consuming obstacle, and some people can go through it really fast, skip over the last things, right? To me, it balances out, but I have already seen complaints. There's only been one day, and there's already people on Twitter saying that, it's that they don't like how many people failed on it. Basically, it was too much of a differentiator.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this more than anything else is that it really narrowed out a lot of the high-level ninjas from the more novice ninjas, and the dynamics of how the more experienced ninjas tackle that obstacle really shown. And I think that has a lot to do with the technique involved and just different approaches. And that's what I really respect about obstacles like that there's different ways of tackling it, and just one small little technique twitch like thing that you change up will really make all the difference.
That was actually one of the weird things about this episode, I thought, is that there was nobody struggling on the course, really. Like, everybody was top notch. Everybody was able to do even these tough obstacles. There was,
there's one. There's one
a little behind. But you got to look at the comparison to last season. We had some people that were obviously were outmatched. Even the one person that I know who you're going to talk about was still did well and beat that obstacle.
Yeah. I will say, I really like, there was a lot of complaints, even from me, if you guys remember, about last season and season 1 of the format and everything that involved with the points. But I think it won't be as much of an issue this season, just because there's so much more higher level ninjas on the course, and experience really takes the matter. So I think the playing field's a lot more even. Whereas a team can get by with just one really high up ninja to the finals last season, I really don't think that same dynamic will play this season. You really have to have a fully fleshed out team. So, yeah, I have no complaints about the format. And man, these other obstacles, I mean, they're pretty awesome. I really hope we have at least one change-up, just like last season with the show. I have to imagine it will be like that. So I'm all excited about it.
Yeah, so it kind of get hung up on the Ring of Fire right off the bat. So it was Sonic Swing, Ring of Fire.
Because it's awesome.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah. Then we get it's the swing jump, the floating tiles, and then the flying shelf grab, which was new.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Which
that was
I thought
that
was
was in
pretty good.
season 1.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like I remember that one.
Oh, I didn't remember that one.
Yeah.
They switched it out so many times, I guess I forgot that was one of them.
Yeah.
It did.
I was waiting for the pole grasper to start off the season again, I guess. And then the warped wall. So it was very familiar looking, but I didn't have any complaints with that. I thought that was a good idea. I think it's good to kind of standardize it a bit so everybody has their practice in. And I think we saw with the level everybody was at, it probably paid off.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about the other switch up, which was is it floating tiles is what it's called?
Yeah,
Right,
I'm
Rich?
pretty sure they call them that.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that being switched up from the Dancing Stones?
It's good. I liked it. I was never a big fan of the Dancing Stones. I know you liked them a lot.
Mm-hmm. I like both, and I don't mind this one at all. I actually really enjoy, because we get all these awesome moments of like Jake Murray and other people, man, like hopping from one to the other. That was dope, man. So I didn't mind it at all.
Two of the best moments in the whole show is you going across those floating tiles. That was great.
Oh, thanks, man.
And
Yeah,
it created some scary moments also.
that's
We'll get
just
to that
it.
later.
Yeah, I guess we'll get to that, but yeah, they were tricky to navigate. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the teams, right? We're getting far in here without even mentioning who the teams were. We had Party Time versus the NorCal Ninjas to start off, and then it was Golden Hearts versus the Tres Amigos for the second part. That is, to remind everybody, Party Time was Brian Arnold, Jake Murray, and Jennifer Tavernier, and NorCal Ninjas was Brian Kretsch, David Campbell, and Anna Shoemaker, who was got to be the rookie sensation of the episode.
Yup.
Man, yeah.
Wow, she was amazing. So before we get to her individually, I guess, what did you think when you drew the NorCal Ninjas? Were you worried at all? Did you think, oh, this is gonna be interesting? Where was your mind at? I guess
I don't ever want to look at another team and be worried. I try to like stay focused and not worry about that. More worry about myself. But obviously, I mean, David Campbell's quick. I didn't know Anna at the time.
right.
So I wasn't really sure there. She was a bit of a wild card or a sleeper. She was a Jennifer Tavernier of season 2, if you will.
yeah.
And
Pretty much.
yeah. So I was going up against Brian, and I knew he was quick and very experienced, just like David. So yeah, it was nothing to underestimate.
Yeah, I guess in that situation, I mean, you just have to zone out and focus on yourself and do, like, if you worry too much about the other teams, I mean, it's going to get in your head, right?
Mm-hmm. And even when you're running the course, I mean, you got to just look straight ahead. Don't worry about the opponent. It's not going to do you any favors.
Nope.
Yeah, I wondered that. Is it something that you're looking over your shoulder? Are you constantly worried about that? I guess if they're not in front of you, then you're happy. You're just going as fast as you can.
Right. Yeah, that's just it. And if they're ahead of you, I mean, you still need to keep your eyes on the obstacle that you're doing. Otherwise, you could whiff. And yeah, so that's my approach to it, at least.
So it started off with a bang. So you were actually the first run of the whole thing. So you ran against Brian, and you get hung up on the Ring of Fire right off on the second peg. Where was your mind at as soon as that happened?
And maybe that's why I have the opinion on that obstacle that I do. It's biased, but no. So yeah, once I got hung up and saw him, your mind starts racing. But again, I try to stay focused. And what's cool about Team Ninja is it's not over until the buzzer's slapped by one of the opponents. So
Yeah. Was that your first time on that obstacle with that switch up that they had?
My first time on the obstacle with the Ring of Fire. That obstacle?
Yeah. Where it has the 2 breaking points where you have to like hop over it?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a completely new obstacle, I think, for the show, for like either ANW or TNW.
Yeah, because I have to imagine, I mean, that's something where a lot of the ninjas are looking at like, I have to figure this out real quick. And yeah, you could see throughout the episode a lot of people just finding new ways to approach it.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
Yep, absolutely. And it was kind of like, do you take the safe approach and get hung up in the second one and then Lachey, like I did accidentally? That wasn't necessarily the approach I was going with. But then there's the more aggressive approach, and you try and Lachey to the mat if you do get hung up and use your momentum. But or hop both.
Yeah, tough, man. It's a really tough decision, and I don't know. I think that's why I like it so much as a viewer, because it's like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, no, I can understand that absolutely.
Bijan, help me out. Am I crazy? I know I've seen this before. Was it on College Madness? I thought it was on the first season.
It was on College Ninja Warrior, but I believe there was only one little breaking point rather than two.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you remember, I mean, I'm pretty sure this was filmed in the same location as College Ninja Warrior. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're filmed back to back. So.
Yeah. Fun fact, actually, College was filmed after.
Oh, after. Oh. There you go, man.
Yeah.
There we go. They separate the filming from the airing so much that it's hard to remember when the heck anything happened.
Yeah. You kind of have to have that insider knowledge.
So you ended up winning the first race because Brian ended up falling off on the shelf grab, and you had raced to catch up. It was awesome. I was actually really excited. Like, it was an amazing start to the whole season. I was immediately taken to level 11 out of 10.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know how I caught up to him, but it happened somehow.
Yeah, it was cool because it had ups and downs. There was drama involved. It was very close. And then you see somebody fall on it, and it just accentuates the difficulty of the course. So in a way, it was like a perfect intro to the season.
Yeah, and then we get to see Jennifer versus Anna. So the veteran champion from last season versus the rookie. And oh my God, I was absolutely floored by Anna right off the bat. Did anybody else see that coming?
Did not see that coming. Nope.
Yeah, no, I know. And now that you mention it, that's pretty cool. I didn't know while in holding and competing all of Team Ninja Warrior Season 2, I had no clue that she was a rookie until recently.
Mm-hmm. She was amazing. I mean, it's clear she must have at least been training on obstacles. They have some footage of her training, but she must have been training for a while because she looked so fluid, so dynamic on all these obstacles. I mean, she was amazing, and as Rich was alluding to, she really stood out to me as a very high-profile ninja or rookie to keep an eye out for. I mean,
yeah, no, I agree.
Man.
She's high on my list of girls that'll rock it this year.
Mm-hmm. And she went up the warp wall twice. How crazy is that? That is next level for a rookie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good on her.
No, she's a specimen for sure.
During that run, actually, it's worth noting, Jen took a major, she did it twice in this episode, took a nasty spill on the floating tile. I actually gasped out loud, oh my God, I thought she hurt herself really bad. Ooh. What was the deal? Did she end up injuring herself, do you know, in the end?
I think that might be the one that she thought she got a concussion from. But she didn't know this until I was just texting her last week, and she was telling me she might have got a concussion recently, and then she said that the symptoms she felt recently were like the ones she felt from the floating tile spill. So,
oh, wow.
She might have been a little concussed.
Not surprising, really.
No, she had a rough go of it in Season 2. She's had mononucleosis for over a year now, and she's been struggling to come back from that. Still not even close to 100%, I understand.
Yeah, I was really, really worried for her after that second one because that whiplash was really severe when you saw it. And people that don't realize about whiplash, I mean, your brain is kind of floating in your skull. When you whiplash like that, your brain is slamming into your skull inside, and that's really scary. And you can tell she was really out of it in that second run. And I think it said a lot when they went to interview you and Brian Arnold, and she wasn't there, and I was like, oh geez, I have a feeling she's being checked out right now, and I was really worried. So I really wish her the best. I know, yeah, I really hope she's okay for this season. She's awesome. So no, she is. She's very strong. A great strength to weight ratio. Pretty crazy social media. She is fun to watch. Yeah. She just does crazy stuff on there. Oh, absolutely. So that led to the captain's run. We had Brian Arnold versus David Campbell. You must have been torn at this point, John. I was so excited. Oh my God. Could you just think about that, guys? Brian Arnold versus David Campbell. Yeah. Oh my God. Titans. How dope is that? This is why I love this show. Yeah, no, yeah, they're both studs. It was awesome for me too. I didn't tell Brian this until later, but David was talking some funny trash on Brian about what he should say in his post-run interview after he wins, and I was getting a kick out of it. But yeah, he's a cool dude. I like David. I listed off how they had the same stats, the same build, the same. And I don't think they mentioned haircut, but they do seem to share a lot in common. Yeah. Shaved head. I didn't even think about it until they started lifting. I'm like, yeah, they're very similar. What?
But Brian ended up falling on the floating tiles. Who saw that coming? Like, Brian is phenomenal. Obviously, he showed what he could do last season. We didn't expect him to be so fast last season. So I was really looking forward to seeing him go, and then to have him slip up on the floating tiles was a little surprising.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I always sing Brian's praises, and I know how agile he is, so it's a big surprise that he went out on such a, well, I would say simple obstacle, but the fact that it's shared is,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
shakes, so the first one there is at an advantage, and the second a definite disadvantage. So yeah, it could happen to anyone.
Yeah, what happened rewatching it is the timing placement of the floating tiles was Brian Arnold had to time out just a little bit, like I guess slow down, so therefore David Campbell can go forward. Otherwise, he'd run into the guy. But David Campbell was pushing off of that final tile, pressing down, with just at the same time that Brian Arnold was trying to step onto it. So the tile basically buckled underneath him. And that probably really tripped him up. It's tough to watch, but that's one of those dynamics that I really like about this show, where you have a situation where two competitors can intersect. And I really hope we get more obstacles like that, because that's really fun to watch.
All right. So in the end, since Brian fell, it ended up that the NorCal Ninjas won. So Party Time had to face the winner of the next matchup. That was Golden Hearts versus Tres Amigos. So Golden Hearts being Neil Craver, Natalie Duran, and Grant McCartney, and Tres Amigos.
What a strong team.
I know, that seems nuts. Was that one of your picks, come to think of it, Bijan? I can't remember now.
It was one of the picks that I was going to choose, and I can't believe I was, the whole time I was like, keep an eye out for this team. They are going to be awesome. I don't think I picked them, though, man.
No.
And boy, am I regretting that. They are such a great team.
Yeah, and then we had Tremaine Dortch, whose wife had to sit out this, Cassandra Dortch had to sit out this season because she just had a baby, so filling in for her was Melody Schofield, and we had the return of Andrew Lowe's. So
Who?
don't
Who's
pick
this
on
Andrew Lowe's
poor
fella?
Andrew Lowe's.
He's so good. He seems like he's like a 5-time, competitor, but
Underrated.
I don't know. Like, this guy, I feel like I've seen him, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It's as if the producers never feature this guy.
We featured him. We had him on episode 7 or 8. He was one of our first interviews, actually, one of my first interviews on this podcast.
I know,
so.
it's killing me, man. Like, he's getting the same treatment as Nicholas Coleridge. What's up with these guys? They should form a team being like the complete, like, ghost ninjas that the show never features. I can't believe it. Like, Andrew Lowe's is on this show, and I was like the whole time, I bet you they'll never give him a single interview. And sure enough, Andrew Lowe's doesn't get a single interview on this show, or a vignette. And I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, no, he did. He got a post-run stage 1 interview, like season 7, because he hit the buzzer just a second too late, and then they get his disappointed face, of course, but that's it. Yeah, no, I agree. He's strong.
He's so good.
At least
It's
they invite
brutal,
him back.
man.
I'll give him that much. At least they do invite him back to run each year, so that's good.
They better. I mean, he makes it to Vegas every year. No excuses on that one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Nicholas Coleridge and Andrew Lowe's are the two where I'm like, they deserve better. But I'm happy to see him on this show.
So to lead it off, we had Grant McCartney versus Andrew. Grant just one shot at the Ring of Fire, just double jumped through it and just never looked back. And Grant was amazing this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, beast mode, man.
Yeah, I've seen Grant come a long way, and he's just turning out to be such a solid athlete, especially for his size.
Yeah, that's the shocking thing about him is how fast he moves for the size of him. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the charisma and the size and everything, so you expect a certain dynamic from him, but the one thing that you don't expect is the speed, and this guy is fast, and he uses his length and body really, really well. I'm really high up on this guy, and I've got to say, like, this team is no joke. I'm so excited for them, and not just that, I mean, what a fun team, right, guys? Like,
Yeah.
especially for you, Jake,
geez.
where you're really fun. Like, these guys are, like, just like you, like, all positivity, all fun. I love it.
We had to wake up to be on set in season 1 at like 5 a.m. and we'd all be in the lobby, and then we'd hear the elevator door open, and they're like singing and dancing. Yeah, they're always out to have a good time. I like that.
Yeah, so that was really great. Grant just got ahead and just wouldn't give up that lead, ended up winning it all. And then we get to see Natalie versus Melody. So it was kind of another veteran versus newcomer. And Melody unfortunately failed on the Sonic swing. She just fell a few inches short on the swing and couldn't recover. Like, she was looking solid to that. Like, I mean, it was pretty early on, but at the same time, I don't think it was a really dramatic fall. It was just a small slip up, but that's all it takes on something like that, right?
Yeah, that thing can, if you get hung up on the second one, all that force will rip you off too if you're not ready for the jolt.
Yeah, and I think Melody is a competitor that has so much promise. She's so athletic, but I think it's very clear on the show, especially with the vignette showing her, you don't see a single obstacle that she's training on. You just see her doing CrossFit and weight training, which is fine. But I think when it comes to this competition, I mean, Team Ninja Warrior, especially this season's really rough if you're a newbie and you're very novice towards obstacle courses. And I think even though she has a lot of potential, this course really showed that the experience gap between her and her adversaries. And I feel like this show in particular, you really need to know how to tackle obstacles, because just being fit isn't going to get you by a lot of the more technical aspects of the show. So I feel for Melody, and I think she has a lot of promise. I mean, just look at that athleticism that she has. She's beast mode, but she's got to train on some obstacles. And I'm not saying she's never trained on obstacles, but I think she only had a very short period of time to train for this competition. And I think give her another year and she's going to have a lot more promise. But I feel like her in particular really showed the experience gap that you really need for this show.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she has a great frame. And yeah, I agree with you. If she throws herself at some obstacles, she'll improve drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So unfortunately, she failed early. So Natalie didn't get her chance at the warped wall that we were waiting to see until later in the episode. So that left it to Neil versus Tremaine. Now, Tremaine is looking at a 2-point deficit, so he has to win twice in order to come away with the victory. And he does manage to win the first round versus Neil, because Neil falls on the Ring of Fire, which totally blew me away. Did not see that coming at all.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of fire, we got to talk about this vignette by Neil Craver. Oh my God, he's got like his hands on fire now. What? The whole time I was like, nope, no way in heck. That dude is insane.
He's awesome. He's so creative.
That was dope, but I was like, no way.
That's why they call him Crazy Craver.
Right?
Oh, geez, I can watch him all day. He is absolutely phenomenal to watch, and a crazy athlete too. But he stepped aside at that point and let Grant run against Tremaine for the second run, which is probably a good choice given how well Grant did.
Not just that, I mean, at this point, he was probably winded. Grant's already been rested. So you have a rested Grant McCartney versus a more tired Tremaine Dortch who has to run back-to-back. So it was very smart on their team. And I think this is another dynamic where having a fully fleshed out team really helps you out, because you can switch up the competitors running into the final stage, or I guess run.
Yeah. Yep, definitely a little bit of strategy.
Yeah, I guess that would be one of the strengths of your team too, is that you could easily switch either one of you into the to hold down that last leg of the run too. But in this case, it was actually pretty neck and neck, Grant and Tremaine going back and forth. Grant did get ahead, and then Tremaine almost caught up by just hurling himself from behind at the shelf grab in one of the best, attempts to catch up that I've ever seen. But he ends up slipping on the wall. He got his foot wet when he came down, and it just made him slip when he was trying to run up the wall. Almost parallel with Grant. If he had gotten up the wall just a little faster, he would have been there.
Yeah, a little dip in the water. All the more reason to stay dry.
Yeah, what do you think of the allowed to get a little bit wet in Team Ninja Warrior versus ANW?
I personally, I don't like it, but I understand that it would be probably pretty boring, because a lot of people do hit the water, and to end the run right there and DQ them would be anticlimactic. But yeah, I still try to stay as dry as possible, just so I don't get in the habit of thinking it's okay.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
So I really like it because we get more runs, and I've seen at this point too many people accidentally hit the water, and just thinking about them ending the run right there would make me lose my mind, especially for a race. There's more leeway. But I have to ask, because Jake, I'm sure you're familiar with at this point with it. I mean, how much of a difference does it make having dry feet going up that warped wall compared to wet feet?
Yeah, I mean, Tremaine, that's a prime example. It makes a huge difference. I think the material they use is skate light, but it's fine, with grippy rubber. But I mean, it's tough. You saw it in season 1 happen a lot too. Yeah. So it's just difficult.
Yeah, so at least there's that, right?
Yeah, there is a penalty to getting wet. It's not that you're not penalized. It's just not a blatant disqualification. So I think it's a nice balance. So Grant ends up winning. The Golden Hearts win the match, which means that now the NorCal Ninjas faced the Tres Amigos. That's got to be the roughest spot in the whole thing. I don't know how to fix it, but it's going to suck to lose that second match and have to go against the winners of the first round right afterwards. It's got to be the worst position to be in.
Brutal.
They actually switched up the order here. Oh, no. Never mind. I hate that there's two Brians in this episode. Do you know how confusing that is?
What?
So we have
I'll make
Brian.
sure to clarify.
Yeah, we have Brian Kretsch from NorCal Ninjas facing Andrew Lowe's. Andrew one-shots the Ring of Fire, and Brian falls on it. So, I mean, we're having veterans like Brian Kretsch falling on the Ring of Fire, and we had Neil Craver, and we had, like, so many people this episode that they can't overlook it. It's almost like the Dancing Stones got overlooked so much last season, and they caused so many falls.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to see the return of Anna Shoemaker versus Melody. Melody did much better this second time around, but she started struggling on the swing jump. She did, yeah. She beat the Ring of Fire.
I guess, man.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being like too rough on her, but
you
I'm
were
just
comparing
saying.
her.
Maybe.
You're comparing her to the women on this
Another
episode.
ninja? Another rookie ninja? They're both rookies.
Yeah, but Anna was phenomenal. Jennifer is always phenomenal, and so is Natalie. Like, you are comparing her at a very high level.
Yeah, and if she has no obstacle experience, I mean, Melody definitely does. Or, I'm sorry, Anna definitely does. So
Yeah. What I'll say is Anna just next level. More than Melody. I mean, you know, for her, she's got potential. We'll see her next year. But Anna's just killing it this season, and what a great addition to their team. I mean, she's really, I think, going to be the key for that team's success going in the future. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what she does on American Ninja Warrior. You have to expect after this, like after seeing what she did on this show, that she's got to be in American Ninja Warrior this season. I'm really looking forward to see what she can do.
Yeah, there's no way she's not getting a call.
Yeah, how many women have we actually seen run flawlessly on Team Ninja Warrior where they hit the buzzer each time, whether it was actually needed or not? I know Megan Martin did. I'm pretty sure Jessie Graff did as well, but I don't know how many women actually went up the warp wall every time like Anna did.
I can't say, but I'll say, I mean...
You're asking in season 2?
No, in season 1. In season 1, we only had 2, I think, maybe?
Season 1 that hit the buzzer twice? Yeah, I don't know, because I don't think Jennifer did. Jerry got it once. That's a good question. I don't think Natalie ever hit a buzzer.
Natalie didn't.
No, this was her first. Like I said, Megan hit it twice. She didn't need to each time, but she did.
Yeah, the thing about season 1 was that a lot of women made it to the warped wall, but a lot of women had a tough time getting up to that point, getting up the warped wall at that point. Yeah. And I really feel like this season we're going to see a lot more women trained for that cardio, like just blast that you have to do at the very end. And I think we're going to see a lot more women that are, you know, potential favorites really get up there, and I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, I know Tiana Weberly went up last season, but she only did it once, I think. Anyway, kind of a weird aside, but it was really cool to see her do it twice. And then we get to see David Campbell versus Tremaine Dortch in the final, and Tremaine ended up falling on the Ring of Fire. Do you think he was just winded at that point? Like he had just done the back-to-back runs in the previous race?
Probably. I mean, that dude has got a lot of muscle on him.
That he does. That he does.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah, it really sucks. I mean, and there's only so much you can do, right? Like he put it all out there, obviously, and just kind of they came up short this season, unfortunately.
Yeah, because for a guy like him, I mean, he's holding on a lot of weight, and an obstacle like that, you got to hold on with your fingertips, like all of your weight pressing down, plus that added force being swinging down on you, and he's winded, so he had a lot going against him with that obstacle. And that's, I guess, one component of that obstacle where somebody like him is going to have a tougher time.
Yeah, that's very true. You got to make sure your cardio game is on point for Team Ninja.
Oh, yeah. That's why, like, I feel like free runners and, like, people like you, Jake, like, you're going to, I feel like they're going to have a much easier time, but at the same time, during the final relay, I feel like it's going to, like, lend in more towards the traditional ninjas with the rock climbing experience and everything. So I'm really happy that Team Ninja Warrior has this middle ground footing where it hits all the different facets of all the athletes in this sport. And I don't know, man. It's just fun.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought of it that way, but in the relays, it comes down to less
Agility, right?
well-roundedness. Yeah, you can kind of pick like, okay, we'll put our parkour guy on the first three, and then you can, yeah, you can really play to the competitor strengths.
So actually, there was a little aside here with Brian Arnold, come to think of it, where they talked about his training at the high altitude making a big difference. I never can tell when they're just pulling my leg or not, because they just like to play up all kinds of different things. I really don't think that Grant McCartney's training with the carts on the planes is really a big deciding factor in his success, for example. But
No, but training in altitude's a big deal, man.
yeah, I thought it might be, but
It's 17% less oxygen in the air, and it takes like they say 2 weeks to acclimatize, and yeah, so it definitely teaches your red blood cells to be, or you produce more red blood cells, I believe.
Yeah, just the cardio levels. Just for anybody that trains in altitude, the cardio is going to be way big over a difference towards traditional people that train in sea level. I mean, when you see it in like boxing or MMA or anything, and you hear that somebody trains in altitude, you see a giant difference when it comes to cardio.
No, anytime I go to a competition at sea level, I feel much better.
Hmm. I bet. Could you imagine like if they did like American Ninja Warrior at on altitude, Colorado? I mean, that would be absolutely brutal.
Well, Denver is a qualifying city this year, so.
Ooh. I can't wait to see Denver. Like, imagine if they do that in altitude. That is going to be so mean towards those competitors. I feel
No,
that is going to be so bad.
for those of us that live here, it's all right. But yeah, if you have to come down from lower elevation, that's kind of brutal.
That's going to be tough.
Just come 2 weeks
I'm
early.
kind of excited for that though. That's going to be really interesting to see if they have it in altitude.
Yeah, I can't wait.
all right, and then we had our big matchup between Golden Hearts versus Party Time, the heartbreaker to watch, because it's like I don't want either one of these teams to go home.
Yeah, but this was a matchup where I was like, these, in my opinion, are the two teams to look out for. And I was so excited for this matchup because I was worried that we weren't going to get this matchup on this episode. And, man, it made some fun matchups. I thoroughly enjoyed this whole thing.
Yeah, the first run, we happen to have Jake with us right now, so...
Hey.
We had, they switched it out, so Neil actually ran against you this time.
Yeah, I'm assuming...
That was very smart. That was very smart on their part.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was, since Neil's first couple runs weren't up to par, at least for where he normally is, they wanted Grant for the 2-point run, so...
Mm-hmm. Makes
sense. Not just that, I mean, Neil is much more agile. So if you're going against somebody like you, Jake, where it's like straight up parkour, like flying through, and like you're all about speed, right? Especially during the breakaway points. I mean, you got to have somebody that can keep up with you during that. Whereas Grant will kind of catch up more in the laches and the more upper body base obstacles. I mean, he would be much more better matched up against Brian Arnold, whereas Crazy Craver, you know, he's much more better matched up with you. So I found that pairing perfect.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, and I know I'm just curious to what kind of athlete do people think I am? Like from your perspective?
I find you like straight up agility based, free runner based type of dude.
Okay.
Do I have you completely wrong, man?
Yeah, you do, but that's okay. Like I have I mean, I get my agility from skateboarding. I've been skateboarding for 17 years.
Nice.
And then, so I'll just make this quick because I don't expect this to be in or anything. I just wanted, I was curious to hear because it's always really neat to hear. I get that quite a bit though. Like people always think I'm a parkour guy, but I dabble. I really enjoy it, but I don't make a point to go do it weekly even. But yeah, so I like skateboarding was my first love, and then I got into rock climbing 7.5 years ago, and that took over from like skateboarding kind of went on the back burner once I discovered.
Dude, that's crazy.
So yeah,
your build just completely like I always pictured you like mixed in with more of the Flip Rodriguez and types like that. I guess that's maybe just like projecting on my part, but I had no idea. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, it's still a big compliment to, you know, because I mean, I think I have a lot of respect for parkour athletes, but yeah.
Well, you're very fast and fluid. Well, so
I
it definitely mixes together.
Yeah, I'm wondering what it is. I don't know if they've built you that way, but I'm sure I felt the exact same way. I think it's a combination of your build, your speed, and the parkour athletes tend to showboat more, I guess, more than you typically see. So I think that's a part of it too.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. No, definitely not a parkour athlete, but like I said, a lot of love for those guys and what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think on the show too, they do. You're right. They don't make me out to be any sort of athlete. If anything, they try to talk about how much of an athlete I don't look like, and then draw the attention to my hair or something. And then in Indianapolis, one of my runs, they mentioned that like he's been working on his grip strength or something with the wolf pack, rock climbing.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I've been doing that for a long time. Yeah.
Well, the number one thing that they always highlight is your speed. And I think that has a lot to do with it, is your speed. You're very, very fast on the show, even ANW. And I think that plays a major part in it.
Okay, that could be. I mean, it's just there's no funner way to run a course than go quick, and you feel so, I don't know, it feels awesome to go fast and be in control. It's a really cool feeling.
You got a beast mode, man. You got to fly through that.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, it's really cool to feel strong and fast, and so it's hard not to be tempted.
It's funny how you can tell when someone's comfortable doing it versus someone that's trying too hard to go fast, right? You can see the strain, you can see when it's fluid and when it's not, and you always seem like it's very easy for you to do it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I guess that's just how I've always approached it. Fun tidbit, I started training ninja at Lauren Ball's gym, and so maybe he's responsible for it.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, we just show up and run courses as fast as we could. We'd all try to race each other, and that was like ninja night on Tuesdays at Lauren's gym for a long time. So,
dude, I would love to see you two race. Could you imagine? That sounds so fun.
Yeah, Lauren's fast. He's 3 years running. He has fastest time on qualifying night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty cool. No one else has that.
Nice. So the next run we had was Natalie Duran versus Jennifer Tavernier, like the beast women going down. Like, it was really exciting to see how this was going to go.
Yeah.
Natalie just started going crazy through the course. Like, she seemed like incredibly strong this past season. Like, I know this was filmed shortly after the ANW, where she had really done a lot better in ANW 8 than she had done in 7. But Natalie just keeps getting better and better. I can't wait to see what she does this year.
Yeah, she's definitely improving year by year. She's one of these competitors that is really taking the sport seriously, and I'm really excited for her every year and every time we see her, because she's a competitor where she's never stagnant. She's always improving more and more and more. And man, did it stand out this episode. I mean, she's been just next level, night and day. And she was so phenomenal last season, but she's so much better this season.
Yeah, and having a good season can really build your confidence and lead to an even better season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. And this is where we had mentioned earlier about Jennifer falling on the floating tiles. So she took a hard spill this time.
Oh, it was so scary.
Ugh. God, I really didn't see the second one coming. I thought it was bad. The first time I was waiting to see her kind of bounce her way through it, and then to have her do that again was really, really bad.
Yeah. That whiplash when she had and she fell, I mean, it was really extreme, and I was really worried for her.
Yeah, poor Jen. She was just on the struggle bus with her illness.
Yeah, that's going to suck. I mean, anytime you're sick, it can affect your performance. But when you're competing on a televised show, I mean, you've got a team show, so you feel like you need to live up to your team. You don't want to let them down. You've got the cameras on you. You've got a crowd watching. I mean, no pressure whatsoever to be at your best.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And seeing her, like, get up to the starting line in season 1 versus season 2, I could see the fire in her in season 1, and I was like, okay, she's good. Like, there's nothing I can do here. But in season 2, she was drained. It was tough on her.
Mm-hmm.
So Natalie ends up hitting the buzzer. That was her first time actually doing that, and she got very emotional, which was nice to see. I like when they put the emotion into it, and that you get to see how much it means to them to kind of have those milestones, whether it's hitting the buzzer for the first time, getting fastest time. There's all kinds. It might even just be the first couple of obstacles for someone to beat something that's kind of been causing them trouble. So it's nice to see her get that milestone.
Yeah, it was a really, really powerful moment. And like these are situations where I'm so happy they show it and they don't skip over it like other shows that we've covered in the past, right? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where they really took time to just show the gravity of the moment for Natalie, and we were able to just connect with her in that. It elevates the show, and it elevates Natalie, and it was just all around an amazing situation and really touching moment.
And then, so it came down to the captains. We had Grant versus Brian. Brian hits the Ring of Fire, and Grant ends up winning, knocking Party Time out of the running this season. Like,
Ugh.
and I was immediately screaming, Bijan, what have you done?
Yeah, no, it was cool to see it come full circle, though. You know, we had such a good season last year, and then we lose both of our matches right away and get out. It's like Jeff Britton, you know?
Yeah.
He wins, and then he goes out on stage 1. But fun fact about their run, the floating tiles actually broke on them. They were on them at the same time, and they snapped.
Whoa.
And so the way they were handling that, because malfunctions happened a few times this season, they were starting Brian at the cargo net after the swing, and then they started Grant at the 5th, I believe. So he had a 1 obstacle lead, and then they just started him from there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so crazy that they edit that out and you can't even tell.
Yeah, it happened a couple times this season. Yeah.
That's scary. I mean, floating tiles like snapping on you. Like,
yeah.
I really hope nobody got hurt on that. Those are bands, man. Those things can whip at you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, I think it actually breaking was probably better than one of them taking it to the chest. Like, it looked like a softer impact.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yikes.
crazy. Yeah, I had no idea.
So that led to the relay showdown between NorCal Ninjas and Golden Hearts, which added in the additional 3 obstacles of the dueling salmon ladders, the globe graspers, and the invisible ladder to end it all.
So perfect. I love these 3 additions. Globe graspers is a really good, tough grip obstacles. The salmon ladder is a hallmark, as everybody knows. Man, the introduction of the invisible ladder. If you remember, Rach, this was the obstacle we just kept saying, hey, why don't they do an invisible ladder at the end? And they have it, and it is so perfect. I love everything about the ending of this relay.
I'm a little torn on it because I find it so upper body intensive for something that's really meant to be kind of a test of speed. But I guess if you look at it as, like you said, put your specialists in the different sections, it's not quite as bad of a disconnect. So looking at the lineup for the final matchup, we have Natalie versus Anna to start it off, Grant versus Brian pulling down the middle part of the course, and Neil versus David to finish it all off.
Yes! Yes! What an awesome matchup, like all around. You have the rookie like standout versus Natalie Duran, the MVP of last year, man. You got all of the awesome matchups. Like, these teams couldn't be so perfectly stacked against each other. I was so excited.
Bijan, you make me love this show even more than I already do.
Thanks, Ed.
Ditto.
Yeah, it's
Ditto.
cool to see someone else analyze it. And yeah, no, I appreciate that matchup so much more now.
Well, when you look at it, we've got Brian Crash and David Campbell, like 2 of the like most diehard veterans of the show, versus Grant and Neil, who are like the up-and-comers in the last few seasons that are really showing what they can do. So, I mean, even setting aside the fact that Natalie has been killing it and Anna is this crazy rookie, like you said, the whole setup for the finals is just perfect. And it was a pretty dead heat. I mean, Natalie got ahead a bit, but it was not that big of a lead. Brian started to make up that time, pulling up the middle of the course, but he was still behind at that middle section. And then it just came down to the final 2. Did you think, I'll toss it to Bijan first, I guess, did you think that he was going to be able to make up that time? Do you think that David would be able to do it?
Oh, that's tough, man. I thought Brian or David had a chance with the graspers and the salmon ladder because we've seen Neil Craver have some issues before in previous seasons with the salmon ladder. But once Neil Craver was able to get past that point, I felt like they'd be dead even when it came to the invisible ladder. So there was still that chance, but as soon as we saw Neil Craver just flying up that invisible ladder, I'm like, oh man, he just couldn't make up that deficit. But it was so fun. I mean, they were so close this entire time, and I love the fact that we got like such an amazing story of a team where it's like the OGs versus, as you said, the up-and-comers. And I mean, shout out to both teams. They really gave it their all, and you didn't see really any slip-ups with anybody. We had a rookie on this run, not really struggling all that much either. So like these teams gave it their all, and it was just so amazing to see.
Yeah, they left it all on the course. Neil was a good pick for the back half because I know he has a pretty strong climbing background.
Mm-hmm.
So those globe graspers, they required the grip strength too because they were pretty slick from what I heard.
Yeah, they look really tough.
Yeah, I was impressed at how David got through them because I saw him starting to fall a bit behind. Then all of a sudden, through the back portion of those, he just flew through them. So standing on the sidelines, I guess, or were you at this point, Jake, were you able to watch the finals taking place?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was there watching. I feel like I watched just about every match every single day.
Oh, that's good. So they did have a spot where you guys could see what was going on.
It was really nice this year. They took care of us. We had like an overlook of the course. We were up on the second story of this balcony, and all the competitors had this really nice hangout area, and then we could go inside and get some food and air conditioning if we needed it. Whereas season 1, we were we were like a zoo exhibit. No, we were like it was the really cool backdrop, the shipping yard. And then, which looked awesome. But then we were held in those containers, and right next to the porta potties. And then, it was just, and then that's where like the line for the audience like came by. So we were just like a little zoo exhibit for them to watch. We're sitting in gravel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what a difference! That is quite a dichotomy right there.
It was a step up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that was it. That was the end of the first episode, and I thought it was absolutely awesome. I'm hoping the other episodes are even half as good as that one.
So fun. And what a perfect, no offense to you, Jake, but what a perfect other team to win. If it wasn't going to be party time, I mean, Golden Hearts is a great team for any like newcomer casual audience members to see, because the one thing that this show in particular accentuated, and they did it perfectly with the vignettes and everything, is they accentuated the personalities of all the competitors. Jake Murray, you had an awesome vignette showing off your personality, and all the other competitors had really great personalities shown off. And Golden Hearts have so much charisma, just like you guys. And if there's a team where, if I'm a casual person just watching it for the first time, I mean, that was such a team where they're just having fun. They're exuding so much positive energy. I mean, it's almost like in wrestling terms, like the baby faces or the good guys are all winning, like the previous, and there's drama too. The former champions failed on the first episode. I mean, so there's all this dynamics happening and drama happening just in this one episode. So that must have been like a crazy thing for if you're watching it for the first time. Sucks you guys lost, but what a story.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's good TV right there. I would have been stoked for either team, but no, the Golden Hearts have a special place in my heart. So I was really happy to see them advance.
Yeah, and if the other team won, man, that's a dope story also, because you have like the OGs like making it and bringing in their new young gun, right?
Yeah, this is our house. Yeah, that would have been sweet too. Either way.
Yeah,
we kind of got that last season with Team TNT. They did a good job of showing that the veterans still had it.
They were the ones, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Travis Rosen is sincerely the ageless wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, you keep thinking it's going to be his last season, but he doesn't slow down, so why would he stop?
No, I'm pretty sure he's getting better. Oh, I wanted to say something real quick. I was wrong about the tiebreaker. So when the obstacle broke, the floating tiles broke on Brian and Grant, they started both of them at the net. They had a hand on the net, and then I went back and reviewed the video and then calculated, how far ahead Grant was on the tiles before I think Brian finished the swing. And so that's how they did it. So they gave him that much time. And then, I mean, it's really hard to come back from, even 3 seconds. But I think it was more like 10-second split or something like that. So that's how they did it. They started them both at the net.
Yeah, that's tough. But I guess, that's as fair as you can make it, right?
Yeah, I feel like definitely that's probably the best way to do it. And...
So thank you so much for joining us this episode, Jake. How can people follow you on social media?
Oh, well, if you're so inclined, you can find me on Facebook, just Jake Murray, and then on Instagram, also Jake Murray, but it's a Murraycan _ninja. So my last name, Murray, MurrayCan _ninja.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a blast. We'll definitely have you back anytime.
Thanks a lot, Rich. I'd love to come back and talk about some more ninja with you.
Yeah, you gotta come back, man. I mean, it was so fun having you. All the positive vibes and all the fun we had talking about this show. And I mean, what we saw from you on Team Ninja Warrior right now, boy, am I ready. I feel like you got some surprises for us again. And I'm excited for you, man. Yeah. And honestly, everybody from Colorado and everything. So I'm psyched for you guys. And best of luck this season and everything going forward. I'm sure you're going to kill it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I have some surprises up my sleeve to entertain, hopefully. And then, yeah, I mean, I'll do my best and hopefully give you guys a reason to have me back.
Ooh, so intriguing.
All right, so that is it for this episode. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach me at rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am on Instagram and Twitter as @NinjaPodcast. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
So once again, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Deuces!